Welcome to Proofless, the true crime podcast that ventures into the shadows of America's most enigmatic unsolved mysteries. Cases where the evidence is fleeting, the leads are tantalizingly elusive, and the truth remains just beyond our grasp. I'm your host, Anna Berger, and this is our 17th episode, a milestone that fills me with profound gratitude for the incredible community of listeners we've built. Your emails, your passionate discussions on social media, and your thoughtful engagement on our website are the heartbeat of this show, driving us to illuminate stories that demand justice. Your unwavering commitment to seeking answers for those lost in mystery inspires us every day, and I can't thank you enough for joining us on this relentless pursuit. Today, we're diving into a case that has haunted a small Iowa town for 3 decades, gripping the hearts of its residents and captivating true crime enthusiasts across the nation. The 1995 disappearance of Jodi Huisentruit, a 27-year-old television news anchor who vanished from her apartment parking lot in Mason City, Iowa, just before her morning broadcast. Presumed murdered, her case remains unsolved, a quintessential proofless enigma defined by scattered clues, a lack of definitive evidence, and a web of questions that refuse to be answered. So, settle in for a deep dive into a story that lingers in the quiet streets of Mason City, a mystery that resonates with anyone who seeks the truth. Let's set the scene. It's June 1995 in Mason City, Iowa, a close-knit community of about 28,000 nestled in the heart of the Midwest, 120 miles north of Des Moines. Known for its agricultural heritage and as the inspiration for Meredith Willson's The Music Man, Mason City is a place of small-town charm, brick-lined downtown streets, community festivals at East Park, and a low crime rate that fosters a sense of security. The mid-1990s are a time of relative calm, with residents enjoying summer barbecues, high school baseball games, and evening strolls along the Winnebago River. The local CBS affiliate, KIMT-TV, is a community staple, delivering news about county fairs, city council meetings, and weather updates to living rooms across Cerro Gordo County. It's here that Jodi Sue Huisentruit, born June 5, 1968, shines as a rising star in broadcast journalism, anchoring the morning show Daybreak with a warmth and professionalism that endears her to viewers. Jodi, a native of Long Prairie, Minnesota, is a 27-year-old with blonde hair, blue eyes, and a petite 5 feet 3 inches frame. Raised by her parents, Imogene and Maurice Huisentruit, in a tight-knit family with 3 siblings, Jodi grew up dreaming of a career in media. She excelled at Long Prairie High School, where she was a cheerleader and speech team member, and graduated from St. Cloud State University in 1990 with a degree in mass communications. Her career began at small stations in Minnesota before she landed at KIMT in 1993, quickly becoming a local celebrity. Known for her radiant smile and engaging on-air presence, Jodi covers stories with empathy, from local charity drives to farm reports, earning her the nickname Mason City's Sweetheart. Off-camera, she's ambitious but approachable, often chatting with viewers at grocery stores or community events. She lives alone in a second-floor apartment at the Key Apartments, a modest complex on 4th Street Southwest near downtown, driving a red 1990 Mazda Miata that reflects her vibrant personality. Jodi's life is busy but fulfilling. She's up before dawn for the 6 a.m. Daybreak broadcast, often working 12-hour days that include producing segments and reporting. She's close to her family, calling her mother weekly and visiting Minnesota for holidays. Socially, Jodi is active. She enjoys golfing, biking, and dining with colleagues like producer Amy Kunz and anchor Bob Wheeler. She's casually dating, including a friendship with John Vansis, a 49-year-old seed company executive who shares her love of golf. However, Jodi faces pressures: the demanding schedule of morning news, occasional viewer criticism about her appearance, and a growing unease about her safety. In the weeks before her disappearance, she tells friends about odd phone calls and notes left at KIMT, some flirtatious, others vaguely threatening. One note found later in her desk reads, "You're too pretty to be on TV." but she dismisses it as a prank and doesn't report it to police. She also mentions feeling watched while jogging, prompting her to vary her routes. On June 26, 1995, Jodi's day is typical. She attends a golf tournament at the Mason City Country Club, a fundraiser for a local charity, mingling with colleagues, sponsors, and viewers. Dressed in a blue blazer and skirt, she's her usual charming self, posing for photos and joking about her golf swing. Witnesses later say she seemed cheerful, though tired from a long week. She leaves the event around 9 p.m., stopping at a bar with friends for a drink before returning to her apartment around 10 p.m. A neighbor, Robert Larson, sees her Miata in the Key Apartments parking lot and hears her enter her unit. Jodi calls Amy Kunz around 10:30 p.m., confirming she'll be at KMT by 4 a.m. for the daybreak broadcast, as she's anchoring solo. The call is brief, with Jodi sounding relaxed but ready for an early night. At 4:10 a.m. on June 27th, Amy Kunz calls Jodi's apartment when she doesn't arrive at the station. Jodi answers groggy, saying she overslept after a late night and will be there in 20 minutes. She never makes it. By 5 a.m., Amy alerts the Mason City Police Department, and officers arrive at the Key Apartments at 5:30 a.m. In the parking lot, they find chilling evidence of a struggle. Jodi's red high-heeled shoe, a hairbrush, a hairdryer, and her apartment keys scattered near her Miata. The car's driver's side door is closed, but drag marks in the gravel suggest a physical altercation. A small amount of blood, later confirmed as Jodi's through DNA, is found on the car's side, indicating a minor injury, possibly a cut or scrape. Neighbors report hearing a scream around 4:30 a.m., followed by the sound of a vehicle speeding away, but no one called 911, assuming it was a domestic dispute or unrelated noise. The Key Apartments, a low-security complex with no surveillance cameras, offers little additional evidence. The police, led by Lieutenant Frank Stearns, treat the case as a probable abduction. The drag marks and scattered items suggest Jodi was attacked while heading to her car, likely between 4:15 and 4:30 a.m., as she rushed to KMT. Police dogs track her scent from the Miata to the edge of the parking lot, where it stops, indicating she was forced into a vehicle. The Winnebago River, just 100 yards away, is searched by divers, fearing Jodi was dumped, but no body or belongings are found. The Miata is processed for fingerprints, yielding only Jodi's and a partial print on the door handle, too smudged for identification. A palm print on the car's trunk, initially thought to be significant, is later matched to a neighbor. The blood, a few drops, suggests a struggle but not a fatal injury. A bolo is issued for Jodi, described as 5 feet 3 inches, 120 pounds, with shoulder-length blonde hair, last seen in a red skirt, red blouse, and one red shoe. The Mason City community is shaken to its core. Jodi's disappearance, a high-profile figure in a small town, shatters the illusion of safety. Volunteers, including KMT staff, church groups, and residents, distribute flyers with Jodi's photo, a professional headshot in a blue blazer, across Iowa and southern Minnesota. The police, with assistance from the FBI's Des Moines field office due to the potential interstate nature, set up a command post at KIMT, interviewing colleagues, neighbors, and family. Jodi's apartment is searched, revealing no signs of forced entry. Her purse, wallet, and checkbook are missing, but no financial activity. Credit card charges or ATM withdrawals occurs after June 27th. A diary found in her bedroom mentions the odd calls and notes, with an entry from June 20th noting, "Got another weird call at work. Guy said he's watching me." Creepy. She hadn't reported it to police, fearing overreaction. The investigation delves into Jodi's life. Her family, cleared early, confirms she had no known enemies but was unsettled by the anonymous contacts. Her parents, Imogene and Maurice, drive from Long Prairie to Mason City, joining search efforts. The police question KIMT staff, including Amy Kunz, who last spoke to Jodi, and Bob Wheeler, who noticed her stress but assumed it was work-related. A key person of interest is John Van Cise, the seed company executive who golfed with Jodi on June 26th. Van Cise, 49, was openly fond of her, naming his boat Jodi, and giving her gifts, like a golf club. He claims he was home asleep at 4 a.m., but his lack of alibi and fixation on Jodi raise suspicion. He cooperates, passing a polygraph, and a search of his home and boat finds no evidence. Another lead involves Tony Jackson, a 35-year-old local with a history of stalking women. Jackson's white Ford van matches a neighbor's description of a vehicle near the apartments days before, but a search yields no evidence, and his DNA doesn't match the blood. Theories proliferate, each steeped in ambiguity. The stalker theory suggests Jodi was targeted by an obsessed viewer, drawn to her public persona. The anonymous calls and notes, some left on her car, point to premeditation, and the 4 a.m. timing indicates someone knew her early schedule. A random predator theory considers Mason City's proximity to Interstate 35, a corridor for transients, but the lack of witnesses in a residential area weakens this. A personal connection is explored, someone from KIMT, her social circle, or the golf tournament, but colleagues and friends like Amy Kunz, Bob Wheeler, and Lisa Thompson, a fellow golfer, are cleared. A 1996 tip about a body in a Cerro Gordo County cornfield prompts a search with cadaver dogs, but it's unrelated. In 1997, an anonymous letter sent to Jodi's parents, postmarked from Chicago, claims, "I took your daughter. She's gone forever." It includes a detail about her red shoes, not widely publicized, but yields no DNA or fingerprints, leaving police to debate if it's from the perpetrator or a hoax. The Mason City Police Department, unaccustomed to high-profile abductions — the town had no homicides in 1994 — struggles with the case's complexity. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit profiles the abductor as a male, 30 to 50, likely local or familiar with Mason City, with a history of predatory behavior, possibly charming to gain trust. The profile aligns with hundreds of men, making it hard to narrow suspects. The police canvass the key apartments, interviewing neighbors like Robert Larson, who heard the scream but saw no vehicle, and Sarah Miller, who noticed a white van parked nearby days earlier. A gas station a mile away provides grainy footage from June 26th, showing a woman resembling Jodi buying coffee at 7 p.m., but it's inconclusive. Tips flood the hotline. A sighting of Jodi in Minneapolis, a suspicious man at a nearby bar, a van speeding on 4th Street. None pan out. The media storm is relentless. The Des Moines Register and Globe-Gazette run daily updates with headlines like, "Mason City anchor missing, police suspect foul play." America's Most Wanted airs a segment on July 15, 1995, generating 1,200 tips, including sightings in Wisconsin and Illinois, but none are confirmed. Unsolved Mysteries features the case in 1996, boosting the reward to $50,000, funded by KIMT and community donations. The Huisentruits appear on Oprah in 1998, pleading for information, with Imogene saying, "Jodi's our light. Someone knows where she is." The coverage amplifies public fear, and Mason City's sense of safety erodes. Parents escort children to school, and KIMT installs security cameras and escorts for early shifts. Iowa's adoption of AMBER alert protocols in 2000, partly inspired by Jodi's case, enhances missing persons responses statewide. The Huisentruits become tireless advocates. Imogene and Maurice established the Jodi Huisentruit Foundation in 1996, funding searches and safety programs, like self-defense classes for women. Their website, findjodi.com, becomes a hub for tips, maintaining the $50,000 reward, still active as of July 2025, per a Globe-Gazette report. Jodi's sister, Joanne Nathi, organizes annual vigils at East Park, where residents light candles and share memories. The family hires private investigator Steve Ridge, who focuses on Van Cise and local sex offenders, but finds no breakthroughs. The emotional toll is crushing. Maurice passes away in 2002, his health weakened by grief, and Imogene, now in her 80s, continues the fight. Jodi's siblings, Joanne and Jeff, speak at true crime conventions, keeping her name alive. The case becomes a true crime phenomenon, amplified by the internet. The podcast Find Jodi, launched in 2015 by KIMT journalists, dissects the case, interviewing Amy Kunz and Steve Ridge. Disappeared airs an episode in 2011, drawing millions, while Crime Junkie and The Vanished dedicate episodes, fueling online sleuthing. Reddits, Our Unsolved Mysteries, and web sleuths buzz with theories. A stalker obsessed with Jodi's on-air persona, a jealous colleague, or a serial killer linked to other Midwest disappearances, like the 1993 abduction of Trisha Reitler in Indiana. Some speculate about a connection to the 1997 murder of Allie Gilmore in Iowa, but no evidence ties the cases. A 2001 tip about Vance's boat searched for DNA yields nothing. In 2019, a rusted key found near the Key Apartments is tested, but it's unrelated. A 2020 lead about a buried barrel in a Mason City backyard prompts a dig, but it contains only debris. Advances in forensics offer glimmers of hope. In 2023, the FBI retests the blood from Jodi's Miata using genetic genealogy, but the sample's small size and degradation limit matches. The partial palm print is reanalyzed with AI-enhanced imaging in 2024, but no new suspects emerge. A search of the Winnebago River with sonar and divers in 2025, prompted by a tip about a submerged vehicle, finds nothing. The FBI's CODIS database holds Jodi's DNA from a hairbrush, but without a body or crime scene, progress stalls. A 2025 Des Moines Register report notes a new lead, a retired trucker in Minnesota with a history of assault. But his DNA doesn't match, and his alibi holds. Online X posts and TikTok videos keep Jodi's face visible, with some users claiming 2024 sightings in Chicago, though unverified. The emotional toll on Mason City is profound. KIMT dedicates a studio in Jodi's name, and a memorial bench at East Park bears her name. Imogene tells Dateline in 2024, "Jodi's light still guides us. We won't stop searching." Joanne, a teacher, speaks to students about safety, while Jeff, a paramedic, channels his grief into helping others. The case's unanswered questions. Who was in the parking lot? Was Jodi stalked or randomly targeted? What happened in those critical minutes between 4:15 and 4:30 a.m.? Cement its proofless status, a wound that refuses to heal for a family and a town. The investigation has faced criticism over the years. The Mason City Police Department, with limited resources and no prior abductions of this magnitude, was initially overwhelmed. Critics argue the parking lot wasn't secured quickly enough, allowing potential evidence like tire tracks to be compromised by morning traffic. The failure to immediately interview neighbors who heard the scream delayed critical witness statements, some of which grew vague with time. The focus on Van Cise, while understandable given his connection to Jodi, may have diverted attention from other suspects early on. The FBI's involvement brought expertise, but jurisdictional overlaps between local, state, and federal agencies created communication gaps. For example, a 1995 tip about a white van in Clear Lake, 10 miles from Mason City, wasn't fully pursued until 1997, when the vehicle's owner had moved out of state. Jodi's public persona as a news anchor adds a layer of complexity. Her visibility on KIMT made her a target for unwanted attention, a phenomenon not uncommon for women in media. Colleagues recall her receiving fan letters, some overly personal, including one from a viewer who sent flowers to the station weekly, in May 1995. The police traced the sender, a local retiree, but cleared him after verifying his alibi. Jodi's diary entries, later released by her family, reveal her discomfort with the attention. She wrote on June 10th, "Another weird letter at work. Guy said he sees me everywhere. Told Amy, but what can I do?" Her hesitation to report the incidents reflects a broader issue for women in the public eye, who often downplay harassment to avoid seeming alarmist. The community's response to Jodi's disappearance was immediate and heartfelt. Local businesses printed her photo on milk cartons, a nod to the 1980s missing children campaigns, and churches held prayer services. The Key Apartments residents formed a neighborhood watch, and KIMT staff created Find Jodi task force, raising funds for the reward. The case sparked a broader conversation about safety for women, particularly those in high-profile roles. In 1996, the Iowa Broadcasters Association partnered with the Huisentruits to offer safety workshops for journalists, emphasizing escorts for early shifts and reporting suspicious contacts. The workshops, still held annually, are a legacy of Jodi's case, ensuring her impact endures. The Huisentruits' advocacy extends beyond Mason City. Imogene and Joanne lobby for stronger missing persons laws, contributing to Iowa's Amber Alert system, implemented in 2000. The Jodi Huisentruit Foundation funds scholarships for journalism students at St. Cloud State, with recipients required to volunteer for missing persons causes. The family's resilience is remarkable. Imogene, despite health challenges, travels to Iowa yearly for vigils, and Joanne speaks at true crime conventions, sharing Jodi's story with audiences in Chicago and Minneapolis. Jeff, a paramedic, honors Jodi by mentoring young first responders, encouraging them to pursue their dreams as she did. The family's website, finjodi.com, is a digital archive of the case, featuring Jodi's photos, case updates, and a tip submission form. As of July 2025, the site receives 50 to 100 tips monthly, ranging from credible leads to speculative theories. The case's true crime legacy is vast. The Find Jodi podcast, launched by Kim T's Scott Fuller and Amy Kunz, has released over 100 episodes, analyzing everything from the drag marks to Vances's boat. The 2011 Disappeared episode remains one of the series' most watched, and Crime Junkie's 2018 episode sparked a surge in tips. Online communities like Reddit's Unsolved Mysteries and Web Sleuths dissect every detail: the scream's timing, the partial print, the Chicago letter. Some users theorize a serial killer, pointing to the 1993 disappearance of Trisha Reitler, a 19-year-old student in Marion, Indiana, abducted from a laundromat. Both cases involve young women, early morning abductions, and nearby interstates, but no evidence links them. Others speculate about a KIMT insider, given Jodi's access to sensitive stories, but her reporting focused on benign local issues, not investigative journalism. The investigation's challenges are numerous. The lack of surveillance cameras in 1995, Mason City limited visual evidence, and the parking lot's gravel surface obscured tire tracks. The blood sample, while confirmed as Jodi's, was too small for a full DNA profile in 1995, and early handling may have contaminated it. The partial print, re-examined in 2005 with improved AFIS technology, matched no known suspects. The scream, heard by 3 neighbors, was reported inconsistently. Times ranged from 4:20 to 4:40 a.m., and descriptions of the vehicle varied: white van, dark sedan. The police's initial focus on Jodi's personal life, Van Cise, her ex-boyfriends, and KIMT colleagues, may have delayed broader searches, like canvassing truck stops along I-35. The FBI's profile, while detailed, was too generic, and the lack of a body or crime scene stalled forensic progress. Recent developments keep hope alive. In 2023, the Mason City Police Department, under Chief Jeff Brinkley, forms a cold case unit prioritizing Jodi's case. The FBI's genetic genealogy effort, using the blood sample, identifies a distant familial match in 2024, but the trail leads to a deceased Minnesota man with no clear connection. A 2025 tip about a retired trucker in Rochester, Minnesota, prompts an interview, but his DNA doesn't match, and his travel logs show he was in Nebraska on June 27, 1995. A search of the Winnebago River in March 2025, using advanced sonar and divers, finds a submerged tire, but no human remains. The Chicago letter, reanalyzed with AI handwriting tools, suggests a typed font common in 1990s offices, but no suspects emerge. Online, ex-users and TikTok creators post Jodi's photo, with a 2024 claim of a sighting in Des Moines debunked by police. The emotional impact on Mason City is lasting. Kim T's studio bears a plaque in Jodi's honor, and East Park's Memorial Bench is a pilgrimage site for true crime fans. The Huisentruit's resilience inspires the community. Imogene, at 82, tells Dateline in 2024, Jodi's light still guides us. We'll find her justice. Joanne, a mother of 2, teaches her students about vigilance, while Jeff, a paramedic, saves lives in Jodi's memory. The case's unanswered questions. Who was in the parking lot? Was Jodi stalked or randomly targeted? What happened in those critical minutes? Cement its proofless status, a wound that lingers for a family, a town, and a nation of sleuths. That's all for the 17th episode of Proofless. Jodi Huisentruit's disappearance is a tragedy that shattered a community's trust and left a family in perpetual search for answers. If you have information, contact the Mason City Police or visit findjodi.com. Share your thoughts on our website or social media, and join us next time for another journey into the unknown. Until then, keep searching for answers.